Khan, Shalom, Shalom, Israel, Shalom to the Torah, Shaz, Allah, giving, of course, all honor, glory, and praise unto the Most High God, Yahweh, in the name of his only begotten Son, Hamashiach, Yahweh Shai, who the world refers to as Jesus Christ, and he's the Savior of the nation of Israel. All right, Shabbat Shalom to the 12 tribes abroad that's keeping it today, Friday, sundown to Saturday, sundown to the Spirit, another day of praying, another day of fasting, just like you're not fasting, another day of laboring, and another day of congregating with like-minded individuals that are in this truth, man. All praise to the Most High. So I'm gonna get straight into this. Right, this is going into just some late night prophecy, various topics of the Spirit, just some edification for Israel upon the Sabbath. Um, and just relatively short live. It shouldn't be that long. We had some technical difficulties before it, so that's why kind of doing it late. But it's all through the Spirit. It's all through the Spirit of the Most High. It's for the Yasha'Allah. So let's go into kick it off with the Book of Acts, chapter 13 and verse number 26. Right. I'm going to go to Acts chapter 13 and verse number 26. All right. So I'm gonna pull it up as well. All right. Pull it up as well on the screen here. The Spirit. Right. So yeah, my computer was just acting hecka slow, man. Say trying to hinder the word. All right, so let's go to Acts 13, verse 26. Men and brethren, stock of the children, the stock of Abraham, and whosoever among you fear of God, to you is the word of this salvation sent. Right? It says, for they that dwell at Jerusalem and their rulers, because they knew him not, nor yet the voices of the prophets, which are read every Sabbath day, they have fulfilled them in condemning him. So it's a custom that we had in the ancient world to read the voices of the prophets every Sabbath day. Okay. And this is a cut to all Christians that say that you don't have to keep the Sabbath. Okay. Because we know that Paul and the other apostles were keeping the Sabbath day in the New Testament. And this is well after Christ's death. Right. And they were keeping the Sabbath day. You have individuals like the brother Dr. Eric Mason, right? It's like Dr. Eric Mason. I don't know, brothers may have seen this brother, you know what I'm saying? I know Sakari has done some back and forth with him over the past few years. And of course they gang up upon us. When I say they, I mean Christians as a whole. Apologists, Christian apologists, they gathered together against Israelites, right? They gathered together against so-called BHI. They call us BHI. We're really just Israelites, right? We're Hebrew Israelites. But this is a brother that mentioned the Sabbath, and he mentioned that, hey, guess what? You don't have to keep the Sabbath. You know what I'm saying? That's what he said, man. He said, yeah, you don't have to keep the Sabbath, right? Well, why are we? He's saying Christ is your Sabbath. He said, when you go to Matthew 11, verse 26 on down, it says, I'll give you rest. And that's the Sabbath. The Lord is the Sabbath, right? That's what he said. He said, yeah, the Lord is the Sabbath. So you don't have to keep the Sabbath day. Because he said, I keep the Sabbath. Basically, in a nutshell, he said, Christians keep the Sabbath every day. Every day is a Sabbath, basically, in Christ. Because of this one precept right here, right? They like to go to this precept. This is Matthew. Oh, Salaki. This is Matthew 11, verse 28. It says, come unto me, all ye that labor and are heavy laden, and I'll give you rest. Right? It says, take my yoke upon you and learn of me, for I am meek and lowly in heart, and ye shall find rest unto your souls. For my yoke is easy, my burden is light. Ye shall find rest unto your souls. So what is this talking about for real? What is this talking about? Is this talking about Yahweh Shah's the Sabbath? That when you believe in Christ, now you're keeping the Sabbath through Christ every day. is a Sabbath now. No, that's talking about. It says, all ye that labor and heavy laden, and I'll give you rest. What rest is this that Yahweh Shah is going to give you? Now, on the ultimate level, this rest is talking about the kingdom of heaven. On the ultimate level. Now, again, the words of the Most High are twofold. That's what it says in the book of Job, chapter 11, verse 20, or Salaki, Job 11, verse 6. It says that the six are the things of the Most High are double to that which is. Okay, so it's a twofold precept. It says that we're heavy laden and that Christ is going to give you rest. Now, ultimately, that rest is called going into that kingdom of heaven. Okay, on a spiritual level. Let's go to the book of Hebrews, chapter 4. It's the book of Hebrews, chapter 4, and verse number 11. Let us labor, therefore, to enter into that rest, lest that any man shall fall after the same example of unbelief. So that's what that means, right? Let us labor, therefore, to enter into that rest. So Yahweh Shah is going to give his servants rest at the end of the day, if that makes sense. He's going to give you your reward when the sun goes down, pursuant to that parable in Matthew chapter 20 and verses 1 on down, the parable of the penny. See, we're all laboring in the vineyard right now. We're all laboring. You understand? We're all reading, praying, fasting, and waiting upon Yahweh Bashem, Yahweh Shah. At the end of the day, the Most High is going to give us that rest. He's going to give us that reward, that penny that he all promised the servants of the Most High. Lord willing, we're part of that number. But, the author of Hebrews is saying, let us labor, therefore, to enter into that rest. You see that? So when Yahweh Shah talks about, I will give you rest, it says, take my yoke upon you and learn of me, for I am meek and lowly in heart, and ye shall find rest unto your souls. Because on another fold, we can rest in Hamashiach Yahweh Shah. Yahweh Shah gives us comfort. You understand? He gives us comfort. He gives us rest from this world. You understand? When we kind of, we're getting stressed out in the world, we're dealing with demons, we're dealing with vexation of spirit. We come to Yahweh Shah, we come into this truth, and he takes that burden off of us, of the world. You understand? It says, my yoke is easy and my burden is light. He takes off that burden of the world, the heavy burden of the world. He takes that off of you. You understand? It's kind of like wearing some heavy clothing, kind of have that heavy coat on, and he takes that coat off of you and he puts that light clothing upon you. Like sleepwear, for example. Let's look that up. Sleepwear. Let's look that up. It's like here. Hold on. Sleepwear, right? Well, there's a whole bunch of women stuff. Let's say like for men's, like for example. Yeah, so like just night clothing. The clothing you sleep in. Is it going to be like a heavy coat that you sleep in? You're not going to sleep in a heavy coat. You're not going to sleep in some armor. You understand? You're going to, put your night clothing on. Maybe it's like a t-shirt, tank top, whatever, whatever the case may be. Pajamas. That's like the light burden of the Lord compared to the heavy burden of the world. Because without Yahweh Shah, there is no rest. The Lord said that, there's no rest to the wicked. What is that? Isaiah. Let me get that real quick. There's no rest in the world and to the wicked. You understand? Let's go to I was right on that. All praises. Let's go to Isaiah 42, verse 22. It says, 48, 22. It says, there is no peace, saith the Lord, unto the wicked. There's no peace, there's no rest unto the wicked. So when we come into this truth, Yahweh Shah gives us rest on the spiritual level. Do we still have to work? Do we still have to labor? Yes. Do we have to still go to work? Yes. Do we have to still keep the Sabbath? Yes. That there's nowhere in that pericope, meaning that in those verses, does Yahweh Shah say, I am your rest, therefore now you do not have to keep the Sabbath. In fact, you keep the Sabbath through me by obeying me. Yahweh Shah never said that. So for us to say that because we rest in Christ, means that we don't have to keep the weekly Sabbath. I mean, that's just horrible. I mean, horrible, breakdown. That's a horrible breakdown, if I'm being honest, because it doesn't say that anywhere. Neither does it affirm it, right? Let's go to the book of Second Corinthians. What does it mean to rest in Christ? It means to put your trust in Him. Let's go to Second Corinthians chapter 1 and verse 3. Blessed be the Most High, even the Father of our Lord, Yahweh Shah Mashiach, the Father of mercies, and the God of all comfort. So Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shah comforts us in all our tribulation. It says, who comfort us in all our tribulation, that we may be able to comfort them that which are in any trouble by the comfort wherewith we ourselves are comforted of the Most High. For as the sufferings of Christ abound in us, so our consolation also aboundeth by Hamashiach. You see that? So Yahweh Shah gives us consolation. He gives us comfort. He gives us rest. You understand? From the world, from the sorrows and the woes of the world. Let's go to the book of Second Corinthians chapter 7. The Second Corinthians chapter 7 and verse number, let's see here. Where am I start at? Yeah, right here. Well, actually, yeah, come right here. Second Corinthians chapter 7, verse 10. For godly sorrow worketh repentance to salvation, not to be repented of, but the sorrow of the world worketh death. So the sorrow of the world works death. You see that? It works death. Because when you're in the world, there's sorrow in the world. There's a void. And the issue with people in the world, they're always trying to fill that void, especially amongst Israelites, right? They're always trying to fill that void that they know that they have in their life, but they can't. They just don't know what it is. They don't know how to fill it. So they fill it up with pleasurable things. And they're taught that by the wicked, right? In Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 2 and verse 10 on down, it shows you the mindset of the wicked. The mindset of the wicked is they're trying to fill that void too. Esau is trying to fill that void as well. And he can never fully, truly fill that void. And so he surrounds himself with pleasure and sin to try to fill it. And so Israel follows after that in the world. They're all trying to fill that void, and therefore they have sorrow in the world. They disguise it as happiness, but it's really sorrow deep down. So you come to Christ, He gives you rest, right? You can trust in Him now. All the stress. Let me get another precept on that actually. Maybe kind of explain a little more. First Peter, right? First Peter chapter actually 5. I wanted 5 actually. This is First Peter 5 and verse 7. Casting all your care upon Him, for He cared for you. So that's what we try to do in Hamashiach Yahweh Shah. That's what it means He gives you rest, because you cast your care upon Him, because Yahweh Shah cares for you. You see that? And Yahweh Shah talks about that. He says, don't even think about tomorrow. He said, for the morrow is going to take thought of the things of itself. Sufficient unto the day is the evil thereof. Meaning that you have enough evil that you got to deal with today. Why would you think about the evil that you got to think about tomorrow? Right? So Yahweh Shah literally gives you rest, both on a spiritual level and on a physical. In the kingdom of heaven, He's going to give that to us. Most are willing, part of the number, right? But going back to that, right? Khan, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, right? Going back to that, let's go to Acts chapter 13 and verse number 27. So it says, the voices of the prophets which are read every Sabbath day, they have fulfilled them in condemning him. So the Sabbath is mentioned here in Acts chapter 13. This is about 13 or 12 chapters after the death of Christ. Okay. So if, this means years. So this has been years that Christ has died, and they're still mentioning things like the Sabbath. So why are we still under the persuasion that the Sabbath is supposed to be done away with? Doesn't make any sense. Why are they still mentioning the Sabbath here? Right? Wouldn't there be a chapter or verse in the whole book of Acts to tell the Jews, to tell somebody that you don't have to keep the Sabbath anymore because Christ did away with this. Said Christ is the Sabbath. There's literally no verse in the whole book of Acts that insinuates that Yahushua is the Sabbath now, so don't keep the Sabbath. He never said that. I don't see Paul saying that in the book of Acts. I don't see Peter teaching on it. James the apostle, Thomas called Didymus. I don't see anybody teaching on that. And wouldn't that be a very, very big deal? Because they've been keeping the Sabbath for thousands of years, and now all of a sudden it's just done away with. That would be a very big deal, right? So it just doesn't make sense. Let's go to even in Acts. I just want to get one precept on that, but we'll get into some current events most are willing. It's just something I want to pull up. Let's go to Acts chapter 27. This is Acts 27 and verse number, let's see here. It's in the start. It's in the start right here. Yeah, right here. So this is Acts chapter 27, verse 9. Now when much time was spent and when sailing was now dangerous, because the fast was now already past, Paul admonished them. So what does that mean? The fast was now already past. We know the book of Acts, the author of the book of Acts, to be the apostle Luke. And so Luke is mentioning that the fast was already past. And when you go into that word for fast, it's not just an ordinary fast, right? It's not a Daniel fast, as Christians say. Yeah, I'm just doing a Daniel fast, right? Let's see what type of fast this is. A fasting fast, a voluntary as a religious exercise, a private fasting. The public fast, as prescribed by the Mosaic law and kept yearly on the great day of atonement, the 10th of the month of Tisri. The month Tisri comprises a part of our September and October. The fast accordingly occurred in the autumn when navigation was usually dangerous on account of storms. Why did what do you call it? Strong's. Why did he mention this right here? Right? He put a semicolon right here. He said the fast accordingly occurred in the autumn when navigation was usually dangerous on account of storms. He put that there because that's the definition for this word right here in this proper context. He understood that. He knew that this fast wasn't just an ordinary fast. It was the Day of Atonement because it links exactly up with the context being Paul and the other men, about a few hundred men on a ship. And Paul is saying, look, we can't go right now. We can't leave right now to wherever we're going. We have to stay here because it's going to be a storm. And when you read that account, they left anyway, and they got into a bad storm, and they was like, dang, we should have listened to Paul, you know what I'm saying, this and the third. And Paul was like, yeah, I told y'all. So that's what happened, right? He prophesied in the spirit that we shouldn't go right now because the fast is already passed. So we're gonna run more than likely run into a storm, and it happened. But nevertheless, it says, especially the fast of the fast of the Day of Atonement. And the Day of Atonement is literally only mentioned. It's not mentioned in the Ten Commandments, right? So all the Christians saying, well, you still got to keep the still got to keep the civil law, right? Well, I mean, you still got to keep the feast days too, because the Day of Atonement, Feast of Tabernacles, the Passover, these high holy days are not mentioned in Exodus, right? Chapter 20. They're not mentioned in the Ten Commandments. None of the high holy days, except for the Sabbath, is mentioned in the Ten Commandments. All right. But nevertheless, that's what it's going into, right? So as you know, as Israelites like to say, namely Sakari, uh, shout out to the brothers of Sakari, but they say, context supersedes etymology. So you have to look at the context, and the context is really going to determine what that word is actually saying there, right? Because you know, different words can have different meanings, right? So, nevertheless, let's get into some prophecy. I want to pull up something um, that I found interesting. Let's see here. At the news article, I screenshotted it because it was just. Uh, let's see here. Let's see if I could try to just look it up like this. Yeah, right here. Okay, so this is from the Wall Street Journal, and I think you need a subscription to like even read this. But it says it's official. We can pretty much treat COVID like the flu now. Slovakia said the buzzword. They might shut the video off now. Anyways, um, it says it's official. We can pretty much treat the pestilence like the flu now. Here's a guide. So by pestilence, you can see what it says right there. Right, I don't have to say it because Esau. But nevertheless, um, I sent this to the Akim. I said, look, right, and this was literally published today. Right, it says 1:03 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. They said, yeah, we could pretty much treat the pestilence like the flu now. Here's the thing. That's what Akim had been saying this whole time. But Esau literally made it such a big deal. Esau made it a very, very big deal. And through his media, right? Through his media, he caused many to fall into his agenda. Because looking back at it now, when we're in the midst of it, I could say for myself in 2020 that that was very, pretty much a year of prophecy, right? We understood that. I mean, it was plagues hitting the earth, definitely at a high level. You had the pestilence, you had fires, right? You had fires in California, fires upon fires. The sky sky was crazy, right? In NorCal, you know what I'm saying? You had a lot of different things in 2020 and 2022, you know. But nevertheless, oh yeah, you had the World War III when Trump, kind of put that hit out on the general of Iran. We almost went into World War III, all this other stuff. So you had a lot of stuff going into that year. But nevertheless, the pestilence was a major factor. And so looking back at it now, that was like a test run. Esau did a test run upon his own nation. He said, all right, how are the people going to react? Right? How are they going to react to this? And so Esau made it such a big deal. He had shut down the schools. He had shut down the workplaces. He had fired other people. And during that whole time, these big corporations made a lot of money. They did make a lot of money, right? That also shows another thing. But nevertheless, they're coming out and say 4 years later, right? Coming out and saying 4 years, because if brothers and sisters remember, when did the pestilence really hit America? They said it came. They said it because I remember firsthand, right? I was there. They said it came over to America around like I want to say February, maybe, right? And so they said, they came over here. Somebody is, and then I can remember that because I was in class, right? I was in class, and people were saying, the teacher was saying, yeah, showing us the map. Yeah, somebody had came with, the pestilence. It was like, yeah, it's like, dang. But, you know, but they really started to shut down everything. It was originally supposed to be for 2 weeks, right? 2-week quarantine, something like that, right? 2 weeks, you know what I'm saying? Going to switch everybody online. And that 2 weeks turned into months. right? Everybody remembers that. It was supposed to be 2 weeks. They turned it into months, right? So everybody remembers that. So looking back at that, right? That was March 2020. Now they're coming out 4 years later and saying, yeah, it was like the flu for real. I mean, it was the pestilence isn't really that serious. So you got some nerve, Esau. You literally have some nerve to say that, yeah, it's really just a flu. Brothers and sisters, if we get the flu, you don't, I mean, of course, you're going to take it serious because, certain people die from flus. But normally, people that die from flus are people that are, their immune system isn't good, for one, or two, you just don't have the proper medicine for it or anything like that. But the flu is, I mean, it's common, just like the common cold. You got the fever, you have flu seasons, you have cold season. Everybody getting a cold. This happens literally every year, and they made a big deal about it, right? Said and put a name upon it and called it the pestilence. AKA I can't say the word, but called it the pestilence. Now everybody like sheep. Yeah, we gotta get the shoot me up. Shoot me up, man. Shoot me up. That's what everybody, and not just one time. They did it one time, then 2 times, to get fully 3 times. Some people may even got 4 plus a booster. All for what? What? And you can still get it. And they saying that they saying now this is before too. They said natural immunity is actually more effective than the shot, the bee sting. It's crazy. So it says a case of pestilence no longer means isolating for 5 days, according to the latest guidance from Centers for Disease Control and Prevention released Friday. It's the latest sign of the virus's normalization 4 years after it upended our lives. What does it mean by normalization? It was never really a big deal in the first place. And we understood that from yeah, you see that? Yeah, somebody said this article is about 3 years too late. Everybody knew that. Well, I shouldn't say everybody, but all of us knew that. All of us in the truth understood that it wasn't such a big deal, right? And people are making it to be a big deal. When you watch these movies that actually showcase um, a very uh, very deadly virus, and when you get it, you die within a few days. That type of disease has not hit America as of late. Now, of course, they had the Spanish flu around about 100 years ago, actually, and that killed a lot of people. But the thing is, the pestilence is nothing like that, right? Let's get some prophecies on the pestilence. Let's go to 2 Samuel. Let's see, I think I want 2 Samuel 20. Let's see here, 22, 24. Right, let's get 2 Samuel chapter 24, right, and verse number right 13. Right, 2 Samuel 2 Samuel 24, right, and verse 12, actually. It says, "Go and say unto David, thus saith Yahweh, I offer thee 3 things. Choose thee one of them, that I may do it unto thee." So Gad came to David and told him and said unto him, "Shall 7 years of famine come unto thee in thy land? Or wilt thou flee 3 years, 3 months before thine enemies, while they pursue thee? Or that they be 3 days pestilence in thy land? Now advise and see what answer I shall return to him that sent me." You see that? So the prophet Gad came to David. He said, "Look, because of your sin of numbering Israel," because when you read the pericope in the first verse, Satan moved David to number Israel. and that was actually a sin to David because only the priest could do that, not David from the tribe of Judah. So because of that sin, the prophet came to David and said, "Look, you got three things you can choose for, three punishments essentially. You got to choose one punishment, and these are the three punishments. It says the 7 years of famine, right? The 3 months or fleeing before your enemies for 3 months, or the 3 days pestilence in your land. Which one are you going to choose?" And David said unto Gad, "I am in a great strait." So of course, David loves his people. So I mean, he doesn't want to pick any of them. He said, I'm in a great strait. I don't know what to do." He says, "Let us fall into the hands of Yahweh, for his mercies are great, and let me not fall into the hand of men." So he basically said, "Look, let the Most High pick it, because I don't know what to do. So let's just see what the Most High picks." Verse 15. So Yahweh sent a pestilence upon Israel from the morning even to the time appointed, and there died of the people from Dan even to Beersheba 70,000 men. So did the pestilence kill 70,000 men in 3 days? I don't think so. I don't think so, man. Right? I don't think so. Now, did certain people maybe have passed away from the pestilence? Yes. Right? Most are willing they weren't Israelites, you know, but have they, because of that? Yes. Because people die. People can pass away from flus. People can pass away from a fever if it's too high. People can pass away from certain infections, diseases. So just because certain people have passed away, it doesn't make it such a big deal or deadly virus as we're going to see in the future, right? The pestilences, right? Because the Bible does talk about how pestilence is a sign a sign of the times that's going to come and pass, right? But nevertheless, the pestilence that we've dealt with since 2019 or since 2020, it is considered a pestilence of biblical terms. It's not as deadly as what could come in the near future. Now, when it says Dan to Beersheba, that encompasses the whole land of Israel. Okay, because during this time, David did reign over the whole kingdom. This is before the split. So Dan to Beersheba represents all of Israel, right? Because that's from the Dan is from the top, and Beersheba will be of the bottom or the outskirts of Israel. So it says 70,000 men. That's a lot of people. Verse 16, and when the angel stretched out his hand upon Jerusalem to destroy it, the Lord repented him of the evil and said to the angel that destroyed the people, "It is enough. Stay now thine hand." And the angel of the Lord was by the threshing place of Araunah the Jebusite. So essentially, there's angels over different things, right? So there's an angel over pestilence. There's an angel over fire. There's angels over water, right? As we see in Revelation, um, let's see here, the angel that had power over fire, right? Revelation 14 and 18 then, right? Revelation 14 or 18, 14 and 18, it says, "And another angel came out from the altar which had power over fire." You see that? So certain angels have powers over certain elements. You see right here, the angel had power over fire, and cried with a loud cry to him that had the sharp sickle, saying, "Thrust in thy sharp sickle, and gather the clusters of the vineyard, the vine of the earth, for her grapes are fully ripe." Let's go to another one. Let's go to another one. Um, Revelation chapter 9. Revelation 9 and verse number, let's see here, 14. Saying to the sixth angel which had the trumpet, "Loose the four angels which are bound in the great river Euphrates." You see that? And the four angels were loose, which were prepared for an hour and a day and a month and a year to slay the third part of men. So the sixth angel which had the trumpet loose said, "Loose the four angels which are bound in the great river Euphrates." You see that? So there were four angels bound in the great river Euphrates. All right. Let's go down to as well to Revelation 9 and verse 11. It says, "And they had a king over them, which is the angel of the bottomless pit, whose name is in the Hebrew tongue is Abaddon, but in the Greek tongue have his name Apollyon." So there's an angel over these this army, because when it says the Salaki in verse 10, it says, "And they had tails like unto scorpions, and there were stings in their tails, and their power was to hurt men 5 months." These beasts that we see right here in these verses is not actually talking about big old locust, right? When it says locusts were like horses prepared unto battle, these are talking about helicopters, right? As we know in our modern world, this will be talking about helicopters, where some type of flying vehicle of that's used in the army, in the militaries of the world, right? Which we know to be a helicopter. Because again, this is John looking into the future. So he has to describe what he's seen in his layman terms, right? Because again, he doesn't know what a fighter jet is, doesn't know what a Black Hawk is, he doesn't know what a helicopter plane is. He doesn't know these things, right? He's from the ancient world. So essentially, that's what that would be talking about. And over this army, there is a king over them, which is the angel of the bottomless pit. So this king that's over them, again, is not an actual king, but it's an angel. It's a spirit over them, causing them to do these things, right? So you have angels over certain things, and you had an angel over doing this pestilence. So you could have had an angel spreading the pestilence everywhere, you know. So again, because again, pursuant to Second Corinthians, I mean it's like a Second Chronicles 16 and verse 9, um, the eyes of the Most High basically run to and fro, you know, throughout all the earth. And what are the eyes of the Most High? The eyes of the Most High will be talking about the angels of the Most High. Okay, that's what that would be talking about. Um, but yeah, I mean, just going back to that article, it's kind of ridiculous. Esau has, as we like to say, he doesn't know what's going on, right? He doesn't know what's going on, man, at all. Esau has no idea what's going on because, again, he's going back on his word, saying, "Look, yeah, pestilence is very deadly. Make sure you get, you know, this thing, and if you don't do it, then you're endangering people's lives, right? And if you don't do it this and the third, and guess what? You're going to lose your job because you're endangering people's lives. You can't eat here if you don't do it. You can't eat here." Offered something like a off of a flu. So you mean to tell me, right? You mean to tell me that if somebody doesn't get this whatever thing in them, right? This, you know, the poison in them, that they can't eat at this restaurant, right? They can't eat at this restaurant. And the poison is proved to have side effects. Is actually causing people to die. That's actually causing people to die more so than the pestilence. That makes no sense, right? But again, we live in this crooked world, in this crooked nation where things don't make sense here, right? Let's get a precept on that out of the voices of the prophets. This is a crooked nation, right? A crooked and perverse nation. Let's go to Acts chapter 2. This is Acts chapter 2 and verse number 46. Or actually, Salakia. Verse number 40. And with many other words that he testified and exhort, saying, Save yourselves from this untoward generation. So we want to save ourselves from this untoward generation. What does it mean by untoward generation? Let's get a Bible verse on that. Verse I mean let's get the it's lucky NIV. It says, with many other words he warned them and he pleaded with them, save yourselves from this corrupt generation. And I'm saying that to Gen Z, man. You understand? Because we're Gen Z. We're Gen Z. If you're born, right, let's go to Generation Z, right? So Generation Z, colloquially known as Zoomers, which I've never been called that, but nevertheless, it says, what year is that though? So okay, so Gen Z is from 1997 to 2012, right? Yeah. Hey, guess what? Gen Z. We have to save ourselves from this generation, man, because the Gen Z generation, you know, does not care about the Most High for the most part. All of our contemporaries of our age, their thoughts are not about the Most High. Their thoughts is not about righteousness. A lot of them, their thoughts is about the world. Because, and I always like to say, this world really is targeted for the young, right? When you're elderly, this world really, I mean, you can't really enjoy a lot of things, right? As you did when you're young. They even, the world preaches that when you're young, then you go out and you just do whatever, right? Just fulfill the lust of the flesh. That's what this world, or really this nation promotes, I should say. Different countries is different, right? We like to say this world. When we really say this world, a lot of times we mean the world of this nation, right? The world of Rome, if you have ears to hear, pursuant to the book of Luke, chapter 2, verse 1. But nevertheless, they'll like always to say, you're young, yeah, yeah, go ahead, just live, right? just be alive, meaning just do what you want, you know, just do what you want, man, right? Yeah, 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 come on. That's what they say, to really to the young. So we have to try to save ourselves from that. We have to try to, do what we can to kind of, escape that, man, through the spirit. Let's go to Philippians chapter 2 and verse number 12. Right? Philippians chapter 2 and verse number 12. Wherefore, my beloved, as ye have always obeyed, not in my presence only, not as in my presence only, but now much more in my absence, work out your own salvation with fear and trembling. Right? So we have to we have to save ourselves from this untoward generation. Let's go to verse 15. That you may be blameless and harmless, the sons of God, without rebuke, in the midst of a crooked and perverse nation, among whom ye shine as lights in the world, holding forth the word of life, that I may rejoice in the day of Christ, that I had not run in vain, neither labored in vain. So yeah, it may be hard, brothers and sisters. We may fall. We may fall into the temptations, may fall to Satan. But nevertheless, the Most High said, that a just man will fall 7 times. And we're trying to be blamed. We're trying to be harmless. We're trying to be the sons of the Most High. Right? Let's go to the book of First John, because again, if you're in this truth, you shine as lights in this world, in the darkness of this world. When you have your fringes on, the meat tree, the staff in your hand, you're smelling of frankincense and myrrh. And most importantly, smelling of the Spirit, and your face is shining because of the wisdom that's upon you. Your face is shining because of the wisdom, right? Fringes swaying in the wind. That's you shining as a light in this world. Let's go to First John 3 and verse 1. Behold, what manner of love the Father hath bestowed upon us, that we should be called the sons of the Most High. Therefore the world knoweth us not, because it knew him not. Yet, beloved, now we are the sons of God, and it doth not yet appear what we shall be. But we know that when he shall appear, we shall be like him, for we shall see him as he is. And every man that hath his hope in him purifieth himself, even as he is pure. So it says, now are we the sons of the Most High, right? And that the Father loved us, and he called us the sons of the Most High. Oh, shoot. Hold on. Let's go back to that. So Philippians 2:15, it says, the sons of the Most High without rebuke in the midst of a crooked and perverse nation. So even during the time of Paul, it was a crooked and perverse nation that they were living in. He was living in modern day Rome. Or so like we're living in modern day Rome. He was living in the actual Rome and ancient in the ancient world. But it was still the same, crooked and perverse, as we see on a day-to-day basis. We see things like Lil Nas X, right? You know, you had in the ancient world, Lil Nas X in the ancient world. We have individuals like shoot, I don't even know, right? I mean, there's so many out there. I mean, just go to TikTok, just go to Instagram, and you'll see them. Just pull up the latest songs and the latest videos that's trending on YouTube, right? What's the videos that's trending on YouTube? I don't even know, right? But nevertheless, that's what we're dealing with, right? Oh yeah, saucy Satan, right? Saucy Satan as well, right? But nevertheless, kind of lucky. Let's go back to that, right? Yes, I mean we're dealing with a lot of wickedness nowadays through the spirit. I want to bring out something else, right? And bring out something else. So as everybody knows, Trump has visited the border, right? He went down to Mexico, right? Or Slovakia, I shouldn't say Mexico, but he went down to the border, right, of Texas and Mexico, right? Let's get that real quick. Hold on, Slovakia. Actually, where's this at? Actually, you know what? I'm gonna have to get that. Yeah, that's it. That's I don't have to get it, but nevertheless, um, I was watching videos about how Trump visited the border. Um, and again, a lot of people are, when you read the comments, you read how people are supporting him, going into the election, because again, there's no coincidence that it's been 4 years after that year of prophecy of 2020, which affected everybody in the world, right? And now you have one of the biggest presidential elections of the year, man, or of the time, right? But nevertheless, whoever the Most High chooses, we understand that whatever they do, it really doesn't matter who goes in, who goes out. At the end of the day, we understand that the king, the heart of the king is in the hand of the Most High, right? Let's get a precept on that real quick. Let's get that precept. Proverbs chapter 21 verse 1. Whatever king is elected, right? Whatever king comes into power, ultimately all their choices is from the Most High. This is Proverbs 21 verse 1. The king's heart is in the hand of the Lord, as the rivers of water. He turneth it whithersoever he will. So the king's heart is in the hand of the Lord. So he can turn it however he wants. He can turn it to the left, turn it to the right. You understand? He can make Trump do this. He can make Trump do that. He can make Biden do this. He can make Biden say that. So the king's heart is in the hand of the Most High. He controls it, right? Because it's not written in Daniel, right? This is Daniel 4 and verse 35, or actually, so like Daniel 4 and 17, right? It says, "This matter is by the decree of the watchers and the demand by the word of the holy ones, to the intent that the living may know that the Most High ruleth in the kingdom of men, and giveth it to whomsoever he will, and setteth up over it the basis of men." So the Most High, right, rules in the kingdom of men. He actually rules the kingdoms. He actually rules America behind the shadows, meaning all the policies that Esau sets up. Yeah, the Most High wanted him to set that up, right? He wanted him to set up the policies, these policies for their own destruction, that is. Let's go to Daniel chapter 8 and verse number 25. And through his policy, right? Esau always talks about the policies. Yeah, it's policy. Yeah, it's policy. You can't record me. It's policy. You know, it says no recording. Yeah, you can't do that. It's policy, right? Yeah. No, you can't say that. It's policy. Yeah, Esau always has some type of policy for everything. Yeah, it's policy. Every water bottle you buy, that's we got to add 25 cents to that, right? It's policy. So Esau always has some type of policy. It says, and through his policy, also he shall cause a craft to prosper in his hand, and he shall magnify himself in his heart, and by peace shall destroy many. So by his peace, what is that peace? Democracy, the Christianity driven mindset and ideology that he pushes, right? Esau, America especially, always promotes this peace, freedom, justice, speech. By his peace, he's actually going to destroy many. He shall also stand up against the prince of princes, but he shall be broken without hand. You see that? So ultimately, on the spiritual level, that's going into Esau. All right. Shall magnify himself. But nevertheless, the Most High rules in the kingdom of men, and he does control the heart of the kings. So again, it doesn't really matter who really comes into office. Certain people saying, yeah, Trump's going to come in. He's going to do everything else. He's going to change America. He's going to save America. Okay, guess what? It doesn't matter if it's him or if it's Biden or whoever. Because at the end of the day, it's not up to them. It's really up to the Most High. Because the Most High controls Trump. He controls the kings of the world. He controls Moab's king. He controls, the Ishmaelite kings. So let's get another priestess. Let's get Revelation 16 and verse number 13. And I saw 3 unclean spirits like frogs come out of the mouth of the dragon, and out of the mouth of the beast, and out of the mouth of the false prophet. For they are the spirits of devils working miracles. So yeah, Satan, he can work miracles too. He can definitely work miracles as well. Just like how they show you that in that movie, The Book of Clarence, right? Let's see if I can kind of pull that up real quick. They show you that in the movie, The Book of Clarence, right? Let's see, Book of Clarence, Jesus with money, right? Let's see here. Well, I don't know. I don't know if they're gonna show it, but man, I don't know if they're gonna show it. But nevertheless, let's see, Book of Clarence. I can't even find a picture of it. But if anybody's seen that movie, go ahead and watch that movie if you haven't. But they show a scene. It's towards the end of the movie, but they show a scene in which they have, you know, the Seizure Boy J. Okay, they got Seizure Boy J, and he's doing miracles too because it was given him by Yahweh Shah, right? But he's working miracles as well. He had money come out of his hand, right? He had money come out of his hand, which is symbolic for what? The prosperity gospel. Prosperity gospel. Okay. Esau promotes his prosperity gospel. It comes from America. It comes, you know, saying that, yeah, that feel good doctrine. Everything's gonna be good, right? You can keep sinning, you can keep sinning. Sin, sin, sin. I'm a sinner. Just repent and you be straight. Just believe and you saved. Just be dumped underwater and you be saved. And give me your money. That's Esau. That's that prosperity gospel. They show you that in the book of Clarence. You got to really pay attention to really understand that. But nevertheless, going back to that topic, Esau can work miracles too. Again, Esau, he can give you money, he could give you whatever to make you trust him, right? He can deceive you. Hey, guess what? This is a miracle right here. The fact that we're able to live broadcast, so-called broadcast, right? Because we know what that really means, right? But broadcast information and disperse it out wherever you're in the world, as long as there's signal and as long as there's Wi-Fi, whatever, internet, you can watch this live, right? You can watch this live. You understand? Relatively almost anywhere in the world. So that's a miracle within itself. Esau can work miracles as well. Satan can do that. Doesn't matter if they're working. Oh yeah, Esau. He must be God. I mean, he can do this. He can do that. He got money. Doesn't mean anything. The devils work miracles as well, which go forth unto the kings of the earth and of the whole world to gather them to the battle of that great day of God Almighty. So that's what these spirits do. They go to the different kings of the earth and they gather and they persuade them. They make them, right, gather to the battle of that great day of the Most High Almighty. All right. So that's what he does. That's what these spirits are sent out here to do. They put a spirit upon the earth to do so. Let's go to Joel chapter 3 and verse number 9. It says, proclaim ye this among the Gentiles, prepare war, wake up the mighty men. Let all the men of war draw near, let them come up. So the Most High is putting the spirit upon the earth nowadays. He's raising up the spirits, saying, proclaim ye this among the Gentiles, prepare war. Right? Let's go to Jeremiah 50. Oh wait, no, Salakia. Let's see here. Thought it was. Oh yeah, Con 22. Jeremiah 50 and 22. It says, a sound of battle is in the land and of great destruction. It says a sound of battle is in the land. So the Most High is essentially gathering up the troops right now. He's sending these spirits out here to persuade these kings in their mind and in their head to then now fulfill the will of the Most High, to go to war, to do X, Y, and Z, to proclaim a certain bill, to put out a law, to round up all the Israelites. This is the Most High's doing. Sound of battle is in the land and of great destruction. See that? How is the hammer of the whole earth cut asunder and broken? How has Babylon become a desolation among the nations? And that's what Babylon is going to come to. Babylon is going to become a desolation among the nations. They were once the hammer of the whole earth. Treading down the nations, beating down the nations. That's what that hammer is symbolic for. Verse 24, I have laid a snare for thee, and thou art also taken, O Babylon, and thou wast not aware, thou art found and also caught, because thou hast striven against Yahweh. right? Ba'asham Masha wa Malaki Abasha. It says, I have laid a snare for thee, and thou art also taken, O Babylon, and thou wast not aware. Thou art found and also caught, because thou hast striven against the Lord. Right? And what that means is, it says, thou art found and also caught. Because again, a lot of people forget, well, I shouldn't say forget, right? But a lot of people don't think about the atrocities that America has really done. I mean, and still continues to do. People are aware of slavery. I would say the average person is aware, I mean, should be aware that slavery happened in this nation, in this country. But they're slowly trying to take that out of the history. They're slowly trying to take the bad things of the history out. They're trying to not teach it to the kids. They're trying to not tell anybody about it. Call it, put a title upon it, critical race theory. You're racist if you teach this. But it's really just history, though. So Esau always tries to hide his not mistakes. He always tries to hide his evil. Kind of puts that mask upon them. But behind that mask is evil and wickedness. So the Most High said, thou art found and also caught. Yeah, the Most High said, yeah, I caught you. I caught you, man. You can't run, you can't hide. Right? That's the spirit that the Most High is coming to America with. All right, so all praise to Yahweh Ba'ashem Hamashiach Yahushua. I'm gonna get my closing precepts of the spirit. All right, the Most High said, what, can you not watch with me 1 hour? All right. Can you not watch with me 1 hour? Let's go to through the spirit. Let's see here. It's Revelation 3 and verse 4. Thou hast a few names, even as Sardis, which have not defiled their garments, and they shall walk with me in white, for they are worthy. He that overcometh the same shall be clothed in white raiment, and I will not blot out his name out of the book of life. But I'll confess his name before my Father and before his angels. He that hath an ear, let him hear what the Spirit saith unto the churches. This all our goals is to essentially walk with Yahweh in white, meaning in righteousness, and to really get to the kingdom of heaven. And that's our goal in this world. So with that, all praises to Yahweh Ba'ashem Hamashiach Malaki Yahushua. Lord willing, this video is edifying to you, to the spirit. Kwame Yasha Allah, Shabbat Shalom. Shalom.